The first alarm wasn't loud. It was polite, like a cough behind a closed door. A soft chime in my headset, a blinking amber dot on the tablet. Sensor 12, motion loop anomaly. I slowed the snowcat and checked the feed. The thermal overlay showed nothing but trees and cold. Pines standing like ribs, wind pushing powder sideways, clean. Then the anomaly repeated. Same sensor, same timestamp offset, like something was walking circles around it without ever stepping into view. I logged it as wildlife interference and kept moving. That was the mistake. By the time I reached the ridge station, the logs were stacking fast. Sensor 7 had recorded oval impressions in the snow, not prints, impressions, smooth, pressed down, then lifted without drag. No stride pattern, no heel to toe, just repeated ovals evenly spaced, curving in a perfect ring. I crouched and touched one. The snow inside was warmer than the air, still melting. My radio crackled. Dispatch asked if I was cutting power. I said no. Then the lights went out. The ridge station dropped into emergency red, shadows stretching long and thin across the equipment racks. Outside, the wind died all at once. No hiss, no howl, just absence. Something hit the exterior wall. Not hard, testing. A dull thud followed by another, lower, like someone knocking with their shoulder. I pulled up the sensor grid. Every unit around the station was lighting up now. Spikes, drops, loops that made no sense. The system kept trying to correct itself, redrawing paths that refused to stay straight. Then sensor 12 pinged again. This time the camera feed activated. The image shook once, then stabilized. The lens was too close to something dark to focus properly. I adjusted contrast, sharpness. A shape slid across the frame, not passing through, circling. The sensor's orientation indicator began to spin, though the mount hadn't moved. The thing was going around it, close enough to confuse depth. I felt it before I heard it. Pressure under my boots, a vibration through the floorboards like something heavy shifting its weight beneath the building. Another thud, closer. I grabbed the flashlight and swept the room. The wood there was scarred, parallel gouges deep and fresh, carved from below. 4 lines, evenly spaced, too wide for fingers. The thudding moved again, under me now. I backed toward the door, heart hammering, breath fogging the air. The tablet slipped from my gloves and clattered to the floor. The screen cracked, but the feed stayed on. Sensor 12's camera tilted downward. The lens found an opening, a gap between boards, darkness beyond. Then something filled it, and I. Not round, not human, oval and wrong like the impression in the snow, milky at the edges, darker at the center, reflecting the red emergency light in a dull, wet sheen. It blinked. The floor bucked, boards split with a sound like breaking ice. I ran. The sled was already idling downhill, half buried in drift, nose pointed toward the tree line. I didn't bother with straps. I threw myself onto the seat and gunned it, the engine screaming as it lurched forward. Behind me, the station groaned, wood tearing, metal shrieking, something heavy shifting inside the structure, learning the shape of the space. The trail dropped fast. Trees blurred past, black against white. My hands shook so hard I almost lost the throttle. The sensors didn't stop logging. Even as I descended, alerts flooded my headset, units tripping in sequence, not following the slope or terrain, but matching my speed, keeping pace, circling. I glanced back once. The station collapsed inward, roof folding like wet cardboard. From the wreckage, something rose, not climbing out, unfolding, a mass that pressed snow flat without breaking its surface, leaving those same smooth ovals in a widening spiral. The eye opened again, bigger now, set into a shape that refused to stay still long enough to understand. The sled fishtailed. I corrected too hard and nearly dumped myself into a ravine. When I looked forward again, the trail had changed. The snow was marked now, parallel gouges running alongside my path, deep and precise, as if something underneath was racing me, carving its way through frozen ground. The headset screamed. Sensor readings spiked, then inverted. The system tried to map the thing chasing me and failed, redrawing it as negative space, as absence. I realized then what the tech logs had missed. The sensors weren't detecting it. They were being used by it. Each strike, each loop, it was teaching itself where it could exist, how to move, how to look. The eye appeared again, this time in the reflection of my visor, too close, watching the way my hands moved, the way I leaned into turns. I cut the sled at the last second and launched myself off the side, rolling hard into powder. The sled kept going, engine whining, lights blazing, a perfect moving target. The ground beneath me pulsed as the gouges veered, following the noise. I stayed still, face pressed into snow, lungs screaming. The sled hit the trees and exploded in a bloom of sparks and fire. Silence followed, thick, expectant. The ground settled. I laid there until my muscles locked and my thoughts went thin. When I finally crawled back to the trail, the gouges were gone, smoothed over like they'd never been. They said the station collapse was structural failure, said the logs were corrupted by interference. They shut down the grid for a month. When it came back online, sensor 12 was gone. So was the maintenance hatch. They replaced the system with newer models, better resolution, smarter pattern recognition. Sometimes, late at night, the logs still show anomalies, circling strikes, smooth impressions, ovals where nothing should be. And once, just once, the camera feed flickered on by itself. For a fraction of a second, something beneath the floor looked up and learned.